Most vets are leaving benefits on the table, but it doesn't have to be that way. I'm helping vets understand the VA rating process so that they can get their VA ratings increased by following simple key steps. In this video, I'm going to go over 7 steps that you need to know about to file for a VA disability claim to get your VA rating increased. Number 1, you gotta understand VA math and how everything works. You gotta understand the criteria. You gotta know where all the answers are and how the VA raters decide your claim. You gotta know what 38 CFR is, which is where all of the ratings are stored. All of the information is in there. It talks about all the symptoms. It talks about the criteria. And then you got to know about the M21-1, which is the adjudication guide that VA raters use to make decisions on claims while they're reviewing your evidence. That's number 1. And I'm going to come back to that quite a bit throughout this video today, but I want you to understand those 2 things, 38 CFR and M21-1. Okay, the second thing is, if you're doing this and you're starting over, or maybe you have just now started to do this, I want you to go back and I want you to find your service treatment records, because pretty much anything in there is a starting point. Anything that was documented in the past, whether you just went to the doctor one time a year for your annual physical or whether you went there a lot. And I know that most of us never went to the doctor, but I promise you, if you look through there, you might find something that you missed initially, or you might find a good starting point. So my advice is to get your service treatment records out, get a highlighter, and just highlight anything that you might have missed, or any complaints in service, or where you think something may have started that you just forgot about it. And I think you're going to be surprised when you do that. Look for any missed conditions or symptoms, or look for injury reports where you had to go to the doctor in the field. There might be something in there. If it's all digital, you can still highlight it with an electronic highlighter, or get a notebook out and document the days or what page it's on. You can get your VA records too, by the way, by doing a FOIA request. I'll do another video on how to do that. It does take a little bit of time, but I encourage you to do that. Another option you can use is I have a free digital download. It's a brainstorm guide. It's free. It's a Google Sheets document, and it will help you go through your service treatment records and allow you to document that on there. That's free for you. It's really yours. I'll leave a link to that below as well. So number 3, for those of you who have already started on your journey for VA disability claims, secondary conditions are a great way to do this, because a lot of things can be connected to primary disabilities that you may already be service connected for. And so that's really important to know, especially if you're a veteran that has a 30% rating right now, or a 50%, or even higher, or even lower, 10%. There are conditions that may be relevant, and you might be able to get a secondary condition connected to it. But you're really not going to know the answer to that without research and without talking to doctors, because we certainly can't do that. But you would be surprised, I think, at how many conditions can actually be connected to something that you already have, and the VA will recognize that as a connected condition, and it will help you increase your current rating. I will say that some of these are going to require you to communicate with a doctor. Actually, probably all of these are going to require you to communicate with a doctor to make sure that it does fit. And one thing that you can do is you can use a Nexus Letter. I recommend probably starting off with your own personal doctor, or maybe some research. But if you need a Nexus Letter, there are medical professionals out there that will evaluate your conditions. They'll evaluate all your medical records, and they'll help you determine whether or not that would be service connected. And if they can help you, they'll write a Nexus Letter for you. I will be honest, they do charge anywhere from $500 and above. I think it's worth it if you feel comfortable that that the doctor understands and what they're doing is on board, which it should be. So I think that's worth it, especially if you can get your rating increased, but it's not guaranteed. I do have a list or a directory of medical professionals who understand the VA disability process. It's on my website. It's free for you to use. There's several doctors on there. Feel free to reach out to one of them. I don't get paid for that at this point. It's just on my website. It's there to help you. The next step, use strong medical evidence. I'm a big fan of using medical evidence that you had from the military, so in your service treatment records, and any medical evidence that you currently have, because if you had a condition during your service, hopefully you continued to get treatment and care. And if you haven't, you need to go back and get that, because you need to have strong medical evidence. VA raters cannot decide a claim in your favor without medical evidence. So make sure you get your medical records, both service treatment and private records, and review them and understand what they say. Nexus letters can also be considered medical evidence. I already explained to you how to get those those types of medical records through a Nexus letter. You can also get DBQs, which are the disability benefits questionnaires. You can get those from those folks as well. You can also use your own personal doctor, who probably won't charge you more than what you're already doing for a copay. The next one is make sure you use strong non-medical evidence as well. And this can range from anything from you writing a personal statement to your spouse or a family member or a friend or a boss. It can be a statement from a friend of yours in the military that witnessed an injury that occurred of you. Someone that can document something that happened that possibly could have contributed to whatever condition you're currently experiencing. That's super valuable. Personal statements and non-medical evidence is very important for you to document your current conditions that you have, how it affects your life, the frequency of symptoms, the different types of symptoms that you have. These are all things that, if I go back to the first thing we talked about, the 38 CFR, where it documents what types of symptoms or the frequency of those symptoms, will help the rater determine, what your increase should be or what your percentage should be. You should help the VA rater and document those things in a personal statement so that they understand that, and just make sure that you're keeping everything consistent and honest when you're documenting these things from what your doctor documents in the medical records, and then your non-medical evidence, which is your statement. So those are extremely important things to help you increase your VA rating. The next thing is we never went in for tests or did a PT test without preparing for that test. So I want you to prepare for your CMP exams. Know what they're going to ask you, know what's important to talk about. The CMP examiners are not typically specialists in whatever disability it is that they're reviewing. A lot of times they don't really even know what's important. As much as they'd probably like to help you, they really don't always know what symptoms are key to getting an increase. Really, the main thing they know is, I need to be able to document whatever this person tells me on a piece of paper that has 20 or plus questions. So just make sure that you know what the rating criteria is, you know your symptoms better than anybody else, and make sure that you get your word out to them. I've found that it's helpful to have a personal doctor, maybe not fill out the DBQ, but document your symptoms on their own records so that that doctor can see that. And I've had doctors actually look at those personal records, and it helped them determine what answers to write into their statements as well. And the last one is, if you have had a DA disability claim denied, which we all have and we all will, I want you to know that you can appeal a VA disability denial. You can appeal them if they denied you. You can appeal the rating for a higher rating. You just have to read the denial letter and understand what it is that you did wrong, and then correct it. And that's really as simple as it is in many cases. And in a lot of these, it's simply that you didn't have enough evidence to support service connection, or your symptoms weren't documented well enough, so you got a lowball rating. Those are easy fix, folks. I will tell you that your denials, sometimes it takes months to get back a decision, and so you've already wasted all that time. So, once you read it, you can start working on getting it set up and send it off for an appeal. Also, if maybe you are service connected for something, but it was 3 or 4 years ago, I encourage you to look at some of those. Go to the 38 CFR, figure out if you're still in the criteria where the VA has you listed, or did you step off into the next category or the increased rating? Do you have those symptoms, and are they, of the frequency that is required under 38 CFR? And if you are and you do merit an increase, I encourage you to consider getting the increase, especially if it is a significant one. So folks, these are the 7 key steps for getting a VA increase in 2025. I hope this was helpful. If it was, please hit the like button, subscribe to the channel for more information.